Hello, I'm Dominic Pridham, Curriculum Team Leader for Design Technology, and I'll be talking about GCSE Design Technology. So, the course. The qualification aims to relate authentic real-world awareness of iterative design practices and strategies used by the creative, engineering and manufacturing industries. Learners will be required to use critical thinking, leading towards invention and design innovation, to design and make prototypes that solve real and relevant problems, considering their own and others' needs, wants and values. Really central to this course is the iterative design process, where students have to explore needs, create solutions and evaluate how well they've met those needs. And there are several sort of topic areas which guide the course listed there: identifying requirements, what's needed, learning from existing products and practice, design thinking and communication, material considerations, technical understanding, and manufacturing processes and techniques. In terms of how the course is assessed, there are two components. Firstly is the Principles of Design Technology exam, and that's a 100-mark, 2-hour written paper, which tests learners in a number of areas. We'll come on to that in a moment. Secondly is the Iterative Design Challenge. That's a project. That's a coursework element that's internally assessed, and that focuses on the iterative process where students explore, create and evaluate, and they are 50% of the grade each. So the Principles of Design Technology exam, it's a 2-hour written exam. There are two sections to this exam. The first is called Core, and it's the knowledge really around the broad areas of the subject. It's the general sort of understanding of the subject, material areas, processes, techniques, etc. The second section, so B, is more in-depth knowledge, and it allows learners to focus so they can answer questions relating to a specific product they've selected themselves. And it's worth noting that 15% of questions are maths related. There is a large sort of proportion of maths within it, and that's 50% of the GCSE. This is typically what it looks like. So there'll be information on products, some technical information, and then there'll be some questions related to it. So lots of sort of short, small mark questions and a few bigger ones to test sort of greater depth of understanding. Secondly, then, is the Iterative Design Challenge. This is the coursework component, non-examined assessment. And it's the iterative process communicated by the students effectively. So students have to identify a need, a problem. They have to create solutions, and then they have to ultimately evaluate whether they've met those or not. And it's the process of iterative design they are trying to communicate. And ultimately, they'll produce a chronological portfolio of that process and a final prototype with lots of modelling along the way. And that's 50% of the total GCSE, and that allows flexibility around the material areas they work with. Typically, this is what that looks like. So this is an example from a year or two ago where a student has identified a problem around tent security at festivals, and they've worked through the process of looking at existing products, coming up with their own ideas, getting lots of feedback, and ultimately producing a 3D printed plastic sort of locking device for the doors on their tent. So that was a nice example of what that looked like. So some general points about the course then. So you do have to have a basic understanding of all material areas within DT. You can't sort of specialise on just one area because the exam can refer to all of them. You can, of course, specialise in year 11 with your iterative design challenge. So you can actually aim to do something that's very textiles or very woodworky, if that's what you choose. It is worth pointing out, which is quite exciting this year, you have now got the option, however, to focus mainly on fashion and textiles. So there is a version of the course that we can offer that heavily focuses on fashion and textiles, but you would need to indicate that on your options form. So you would still opt for GCSE Design Technology, but you would indicate in brackets perhaps that it's the fashion and textiles option you'd be interested in, and numbers dependent, we could then run a group that was more heavily focused on that. In year 10, we structured the course with a series of mini projects around material areas and processes, and we also accompany that with theory lessons that are sort of tailored towards the exam. So progression routes, we offer A-level Design Technology. and potentially fashion and textiles. So that would be the next step potentially. Then higher education, university degree, and we send lots of students ultimately to design degrees, and then ultimately a design or engineering career is potentially ahead. In terms of where the subject takes you, well, I mean, it's an incredible subject in terms of the doors it can open. There are so many subjects linked to the study of design technology. It really is exciting. If you have any other questions or information you'd like to know about the subject, then please do get in contact with myself, d.pridham@ralphallanschool.com. Alternatively, any of the design technology team will be able to answer questions on this course. Thank you.